All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order here on February 1st, 7 o'clock. We have approval of agenda, approval of minutes from January 18th of 2022. And then we're going to discuss more about property cleanup, public comment, then adjourn. And I'll look for a motion to approval of agenda.
I have a,
What was that?
What was that?
She muted her.
this is Megan. I would like to request that we make a change in the agenda. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I can't, so I would like to, Michelle Peckrell and I have been working hard on a version of the ordinance as you asked us to do. And I would like to request that we take some time for us to report back to you on what we've written and why and where it came from, and then go through the requirements that we have written so far to see what you all think.
Okay, the only thing is that we're not working on an ordinance, we're working on a paragraph for the bylaws. That's what we're supposed to be doing. The ordinance is gonna be something that the town select board does.
I thought that we agreed at the last meeting that we were gonna send our ordinance to the town select board and see what they, so that we would agree on the ordinance and then send it over to them.
Well, we're,
Pretty much.
I mean, we could do that if the board, everybody wants to do that, but that's not what we were actually working on. We're supposed to be figuring out what we wanted to do for the bylaws, to put a paragraph in the bylaws that update those to going after the trash or types of trash that we want to see cleaned up.
Okay, well,
Yeah, but with the bylaw, if say you already have however many junk cars, if we change it, you're going to be grandfathered in on the previous bylaw and it's not going to change anything, but an ordinance would change it.
Well, we're not looking at junk cars. What we were talking about doing is going after like trash bags, black bag, white bags.
we realized that, but Michelle was just making a point that an ordinance
Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
Gets around the grandfathering in.
That seems the thing to do, I guess. We've asked him to do something, downsize the ordinance, more or less, make it smaller.
Yeah.
And that's what we're pretty much going to do tonight, I think.
Okay, so I propose that we take some time for Michelle and me, then is what I'm saying, to put it, to go over it and, and then decide what, do we want to send this over to the select board as our recommendation for an ordinance? Because I think that this way we would be able to, Fred Miller and our town health officer and our town zoning administrator and the police, if we so want them to, will be able to ticket people and to get this ball rolling rather than waiting to go to court, which is what you have to do with bylaws.
I think I know what you're saying, yes.
I've been saying that for 3 different meetings now.
Right.
I explained the difference between bylaws and ordinance.
Hold on, Megan. It does take a bylaw or an ordinance to enforce it. That's what you're talking about. You are correct. It does take that. But as a planning commission, that's not what we're working on. We weren't working on what an ordinance is or how to write an ordinance. That wasn't our job to do. We're supposed to, or should be looking at just the bylaws and making sure that the bylaws are what we're looking at with the details in it of what we're looking for. And then that goes, then we approve that, and that would go forward to the select board
Well, then
to
why don't,
amend. Because they already have an ordinance in place. They can just amend the ordinance they have also. They have an ordinance for junk stuff, but we weren't looking at junk cars and that type of thing.
Can somebody read the bylaw that I'm right now not near, I only have my iPad. I don't have bylaws. Can somebody read what the current bylaw is?
it says, I have mine.
Thanks.
No refuse shall be dumped upon any part of the lot outside the buildings constructed thereon. Storage of refuse outside buildings shall be completely enclosed containers, secure from animals, screened from view from public ways and adjoining properties, and located to minimize fire hazards and to prevent threats to water quality in the event of a container failure. And that's it.
Bad.
So I propose.
Yeah, but I mean, that covers it. That's why now we actually need an ordinance to enforce that. And that's where you flesh it out. We're already
Right.
talking about trash. We're talking about health problem. We're talking about environmental in the bylaw. Now it needs to go to an ordinance that can actually be enforced with fines and things like that.
And really, I really have to say that you guys, we've been talking about this for at least 3 meetings. And I keep telling you that I'm working on an ordinance, and there's a difference between bylaws and ordinances, and you just blow it off, it seems to me, if you're telling me, oh, now we're going to write bylaws. That's not what we've been saying, John. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Excuse me. Hello?
Hi.
This is Mindy Jo.
Who's-
We still have to approve the agenda.
What was that?
Yeah, we need to approve the agenda.
So can we
Yeah,
have
let's
time
check.
on the agenda? Can we have time to go over this?
Yes.
I'm fine with it.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
So I move that we accept the agenda.
And do we have a second?
A second.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to approve the agenda. All in favor, I'll do roll call. Jimmy?
Aye.
Stacy,
Abstain.
aye.
Stacy? Megan?
Yeah, aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
And then Brian?
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. Let's, motion for, approval of minutes. Everybody read through those or have looked at them that are able to vote on that. I don't know if we have enough to vote on it because
I don't think so.
Michelle and Brian were out. And,
No, I don't think we
so
do.
we only got 3 here right now, I think. We won't be able to vote on that.
I would like to call everyone's attention to Rebecca Dragon's note at the end of the minutes.
Which part of it? Oh, yeah, the note on there.
Read that,
Yep.
John, or somebody? I don't have the minutes in front of me.
Yep.
So in,
There were multiple moments.
Yeah,
One page back.
1 page back. Yeah. Okay. Planning commission, yeah.
basically, Rebecca said that it was embarrassing to watch the last meeting for various reasons, which we don't need to go into right now, but I just would like to say that there was a lot of yelling back and forth over one another. And John, that is, I would like to respectfully ask you, when people interrupt and don't have the floor, that you could say, please, so-and-so has the floor. That's part of your role as the, chair of the meeting. And I think things would go a lot smoother. especially when we have a crowd, like we did last time.
Okay.
I know that I interrupt a lot, and feel free to shut me out. I mean, to respectfully ask me to.
It's a little bit difficult with zoning. I don't think we've had many meetings with the television
Oh,
and,
that's it.
you know, back and forth. I think
Zoom,
we're all,
yeah.
we can raise our hand here at the table.
Right, we're used to being
We're
inside.
used to being
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah, it was really, hectic last time.
Well, we're here tonight.
Good, okay.
Okay, so I want to, everybody had a chance on the minutes and look for a motion and a second on that.
I think we need to table them because we don't have enough people, right?
I don't know.
Put that forward to the
Let's
next
see it.
meeting.
So Brian was out, Michelle wasn't here.
So there's, and.
And Fred's
Yeah, that's all we got is Megan, so we do have three, yes.
Oh, we have three, is that enough?
Brian wasn't here, right?
We need it, no, we need five. We need the originals on that were in that meeting. And that wasn't, so that's not gonna be enough.
Can't approve the meeting, the minutes.
All right, well, we're gonna, move those to the next meeting to approve.
Great.
We don't have enough for that one. So then we'll move on to property cleanup discussion. Go ahead, Megan or Michelle, either one.
Okay, Michelle was going to speak to the property values, I think. Is that correct, Michelle? Do you have?
Yeah, well, I think you were gonna talk about first the what was it, section 4?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, if you want to start.
Okay, all right, well, what I wanted to say though, before we get started, so you would want to turn to page 3. It says 3 of 8, but we really only have 6 pages. I cut it down a lot. What I'd like to point out, for some reason, I'm only seeing Michelle. Michelle, could you?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So I think that one of the problems that we have had with doing anything about the trash that makes our beautiful town look so awful as you drive through on 7 particularly, or 3, is that we, all of us, regardless of our political stance or as whatever, we all feel very strongly about the rights of private property. We talk a lot about people's rights to do what they want on their own property. And I just liked this particular piece that I got from Essex Junction. Now I'm seeing Brian. Because Brian, I've got this. Can you put me back on the full screen? All right.
Again, that's a setting that you have to do from your computer.
Okay, what do
But
I?
everyone can hear you, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that with every right that we have in this country, we also have obligations and we have duties. Okay. And that's why I liked this piece, which is partly from Essex Junction, which I have changed. So the duty of owners and occupants, it's on page 3. And this is what it says. So the general requirement is that it shall be the responsibility of each owner, agent, occupant, or lessee to keep his or her property free of litter, refuse, garbage, junk, solid waste, and trash. He or she shall be responsible for removing litter, refuse, garbage, junk motor vehicles in excess of 3, solid waste or trash accumulating on said property. Okay, so that's the general. Now there is repetition in there, and that is the way it goes with legal writing. So you have a lot of repetition, and it's it's kind of frustrating, but so just bear with me. So that was A, that's the general requirement. B, litter is prohibited, litter prohibited. No owner, agent, occupant, lessee of any property shall allow the storage or accumulation of litter, refuse, garbage, junk, waste, or trash on the exterior of said property, outside of a receptacle that is covered, secured, maintained, so as to prevent blowing, spilling, scattering, or leaking of the contents therein. Okay, so your junk, you have to clean it up, and it has to be in a receptacle of some sort. Now, this C is kind of an extension of that. And I think I could easily combine B and C. Waste not to accumulate except in enclosed suitable container or storage containers. This addresses plastic bags, even when tied, do not constitute a covered and secured receptacle, and thus accumulation of said bags is not permitted. This requirement shall not apply to an area designated and approved by the town as a permitted disposal site. Because imagine if you tried to say that you couldn't have plastic bags at the transfer station. But so I think we could just put B and C together as litter. And then D, litter prevention and control in adjacent and surrounding areas. It shall be the responsibility of each proprietor and each operator of any business, industry, or institution to keep the surrounding area free of litter, refuse, garbage, junk motor vehicles in excess of 3, solid waste, or trash. Surrounding areas include public and private sidewalks, roads and alleys, traveled ways, grounds, parking lots, loading and unloading areas, and all vacant lots leased by such establishments or institutions. Removal of said trash shall be performed in accordance with this ordinance. Okay, so we are asking store owners to pick up the sidewalk. We're trying to get a grip on not just people's front yards, but and then I thought that we should really specify that if somebody wants to keep their junk or whatever they're calling it, their valuable property, if an owner, agent, occupant, or lessee deems above named junk to be of use or value, he or she is required to screen it from view of traveled way and abutting property occupants. Okay, so we are specifically asking for screening. And then now this last one, I'm not sure about this one. I've asked 2 lawyers and got 2 different opinions. Mike Gardner had a 3rd opinion. I am hoping to do an end run around some of these, well, anyway, some of the worst offenders on that we see, that people see as they go through Pownal. Outdoor sales, yard sales, and flea markets shall not be conducted for more than 3 consecutive days, after which time all evidence of sale and merchandise, including display tables, shall be removed and then when we can fill that in. I put in the closest subsequent open transfer station day, which is very awkward. Attaching a free sign to said merchandise or covering it with a tarpaulin does not fulfill this requirement. This ordinance does not apply to farm stands and outdoor sales of agricultural products. That's it. So it's a kind of a strict, listing of people's duties, their obligations that go along with their property rights. That keep the property values up and make the quality of life nicer for all of us. So
Okay,
Yeah, and
I got, Megan, I have a question. Does that one part just before the last one you just read was, does that include what you're talking about for, is it just containers or does that include fencing? So if somebody puts up a fence.
No, only if people don't want to, if they have too much of a big pile of something and they can't put it in a container, then they need to screen it. And I did define screening earlier in the definitions, because you have to have all these, every word has to be defined, seems like. And I said that screening could be shrubs or trees or outbuildings. So it's to hide the junk from the view of abutting households who traveled away.
All right, well, I'm thinking we should add fencing if you're gonna put that in there.
Oh, didn't I have fencing? Yeah, that'd be pretty important, wouldn't it? Yes, means, screening means fencing, shrubs, trees, or outbuildings, so it's to hide.
Okay. And then the other question I had is, I know one of the things Ronnie had talked about was the 3-day limit.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think that would work only because, the gentleman that's coming in for, if he even reapplies, but, the gentleman that's coming in is not applying for just a short-term thing. He's looking at, year-round, year-round sale over there. So
Well, I don't know.
I would
I'm
have to
not
figure
sure.
that out.
Yeah, I think that was definitely something we need to talk about. I would say,
Didn't we,
his way, the way of leaving everything out in the parking lot or whatever you want to call that big yard there, just leaving it out for literally years on end. Some of it sitting on tables, some of it indoor furniture that's just degrading. That is just,
Right.
somehow we need to, that's why the 3-day, I figured,
okay,
Hold on a second, Jimmy.
yeah, I thought we referred those people with the tax sales to the DRB and let them,
I
handle
just
that.
don't know how long that the DRB can stall certain parties who are, if I understood that they rejected the application because it was incomplete.
Right,
Correct.
right.
But I mean, it's more than just the application was incomplete. The history of the treatment of that property has been
Well,
horrendous.
I think you can go back to the junk ordinance there, the rubbish ordinance and start there and refer the other part that he wants for the year-round tag sale to the DRB.
Okay, so you're saying, you think.
I think you go in there and make them clean up.
You're saying specifically mentioning outdoor sales is not useful. Okay. Anyone else have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I think if it's a business, it should be under one, stature. If it's a residence and there's junk out there, it's another thing. And I think, other than safety, I think you're looking at a blight ordinance, correct?
That's pretty much what this is, yeah.
I mean, it's blight, I think that's kind of the bottom line definition here.
Yeah, I think we were trying, I don't know if junk is even a kinder word. We were attempting to not offend, I guess.
And if I can just throw my 2 cents in, I think it would be detrimental to start fining people that have this junk in their yards. I think there's got to be a better way to do this, to clean this up.
Okay, thank you very much. We have been talking about that for about the last 3 meetings, and there was a huge hue and cry on both sides. So I agree with you. I think that incentives work a lot better. And I noticed, John, was that your piece that you sent you sent in an email uh, that you sent on to our town email. I think there was a paragraph that I think you had written or you had picked up somewhere.
Oh, yes, yes, I did. I had sent one.
Yeah, and I think that did address some of this. Did you have that with you?
Yes, I do. I have it. It's right here. I got this. I put in there just something for people to start to think about a little bit of it, something was running through my head. I put it upon a complaint to the town health officer or zoning officer, an inspection would be completed. That way there, we're not just having people running around town trying to pick out people.
Right.
It would be on a
Good.
complaint. And if the inspection reveals refuge or solid waste, that would be addressed, which would fall under, the health officer anyway, through state law. Under my understanding of that. Then it would say, then I had, all refuge must be removed from the property to create a safe environment per health rules of the state of Vermont laws
Right.
and town bylaws that issue and any issues deemed a health risk, will need to be cleaned up. Items including solid waste, household trash, demolition debris, and hazardous materials. Penalties and failures can result in fees and fines.
Right. So basically, I don't think that says anything that isn't said here. I think we need to be so specific so that people can't wiggle out of things. I agree that and I don't know, Michelle, from what you have said, that we think that incentives would work a lot better. However,
Right, and I
got a
think,
lot of pushback from Tom Shuey and from other people about incentives in the last meeting. So that's,
and Megan, I think I do kind of agree with Tom Shuey on it, only because of the cost that people were paying. I think he made a pretty good point that if he's there to getting a free day, we shouldn't be trying to give people free days, because it really goes against the people who are trying to do it right.
except that they live in this
That's
town.
my feeling. That's just my feeling too.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of correct on that. But as far as cleaning up, I mean, we've got to come up with something. That's what we're absolutely getting. I think we're getting closer to something here solid. It's just, we got to make that fine line, finish those fine lines that we can do to start getting it cleaned up.
So do you think that we could, like at the next meeting, well, if you write an ordinance, you really do have to have a section on enforcement and penalties. I mean, I know that they probably won't, for myriad reasons, they probably won't work. Some of this is socioeconomic. These people, some people just can't afford to go to the dump. Some of it is personality, whatever. Some people really get their back up when you fine them and they act worse. But I think even so, if we're going to send it a recommended ordinance, we need to do it by the book. And the book shows, the ordinance from Vermont League of Cities and Towns. It includes enforcement
Okay, well,
and penalty.
Hold on, Jimmy's got something.
what we're missing, and Stacy mentions just what we're talking about, abandoned properties. And he lived next to one, and that there's a lot of abandoned properties around with nobody to really,
Yeah.
what's,
Is that, gosh, is that, maybe we should, I could add another, I would really like to have this, I would like us to vote, on this. I think it's correctly written and covers most of what we want. I'll put in something, I don't know, what can we do about abandoned properties?
I'm just mentioning, but I think you're on the right track. We could vote on pretty much what you're doing here and get a start on it. And then with abandoned properties, at some point.
I mean, if we have to clean up abandoned properties as a town cost, I know Fred mentioned a bunch about that, but if we have to clean that up, we might have to take a hit on it at first.
Right.
To take and go and clean it up as a town. But then, whoever's taxpayer, title to it we could attach it to taxes or tax bill. And if it doesn't get paid, it goes into
Can't you put a lien?
the repossession on it, yeah.
Yeah, everybody
lien
talks
on it.
about putting a lien on it.
Right.
But that takes years and it just,
Well, I think
It does, but if it's sitting there for years, it didn't get cleaned
Right,
up,
this is
it's
true.
worse than years of holding taxes
Well,
on it.
wait the years and do it.
Right.
well, okay.
I have a question about that. All right, so if you have an abandoned property, but it's still owned by somebody. So if it gets cleaned up and you tack it on to their taxes, obviously giving them the opportunity, you have 30 days to clean it up. If you don't clean it up, the town will clean it up. So
Right.
then if you attach it to their taxes, how long does it take to take possession of the property if they're not paying the tax and the penalty for not having cleaned up?
moccasin places, classic.
I'm not sure how that would work on that. We'll have to might get some clarity on it from Ellen or something on it, but I think it goes 2 years if you don't pay your town taxes before they start process.
Okay. That makes sense. If you're cleaning it up and the chance of the people if they pay the taxes and pay the penalty, it's cleaned up and then the cost is covered as well. And if not, the property gets taken and the town's got property they could sell to
Right.
somebody that makes sense.
Brian, I wanted to ask you a question since you're on the select board.
No,
Oh, you're not anymore.
No, he's not on
he's
it.
going to be on. He'll probably be
Sorry,
on.
Brian. I keep messing that up.
Used to be.
I think of you being on it. Never mind. Okay.
He's running again. It's a campaign speech.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So,
You gotta unmute yourself, Brian.
Oh, Brian,
I think you're muted.
Brian, you're muted.
There it is.
Sorry.
I wasn't speaking, but
Yeah,
okay.
okay. So I think we need clarity on the outdoor sales.
Yeah.
Well, what's the feeling? You don't like it at all, or what?
I do have a question, sorry, because I know about this guy with the flea market with the DRB. What is the actual story of, so we have somebody that wants to have a year-round flea market? Is that the deal?
Yes.
Yes, that's what he applied for originally.
Is he
And
gonna
it's out,
build it?
and it's outside, correct?
He
Yes.
wanted to build a pavilion the same as Allegiance.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
That was initially why it came.
All right, so it'd be under cover of something, so
Right.
stuff not just sitting out in the rain.
Right.
Okay, and where,
And I think he wanted, it was one of the buildings. He had a storage building or something there that he was going to do
Trail.
like a inside sales inside that building.
okay, and then and whereabouts was this planned for?
Where?
Where, yeah,
Next to the Rogers Roost.
Rogers Roost, okay.
Yeah.
So,
The lot next door.
So is that property still owned by the same person?
Yes.
Yes.
so could
What is
he,
the history there? Not the kind of history that reassures a person that this will be a nicely run business, like up in Wilmington.
I don't think it's even close.
No,
No.
I mean, if it's, maybe he's gonna have a pavilion, is it something that can be screened with fencing?
It could be, that would,
As a, put as a requirement?
it was kind of, when he was before the DRB, it was kind of tossed around and things of that nature. But his application was so incomplete that he just pulled it.
Okay. So he's not really falling into the category, hang on, I got Megan's things here, of the 3-day
No,
yard sales type of thing.
No.
All right,
No.
well, how about if we,
I mean, that would, I think, work for everyone else in town, a private place. But
Right.
businesses, I think,
Well, he has to
even
get a
even
permit.
like Stacy said, the same thing is to have them on a different standard because that's going to be the
okay,
DRB
so we have to add,
permitting anyway.
It's not a
Yeah, I think
business
you're-
because he hasn't gotten any approval.
Right.
but
right,
he has to have a permit, right, to run a business.
right.
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 They had to come and would wind up getting a permit or something else to DRB. Or through zoning, one way or the other.
Brandon, though, I think he's left.
Yeah, so I say, let
Maybe
the,
just for the winter.
I
We don't
I
want to
really don't
Florida.
think, I don't know what your impression is, you guys. My impression, and I'm not, driving around all day long, obviously, but flea markets, yard sales, most people, they clean it up.
Yeah.
Usually- sometimes it takes a week, but he's really the worst offender. And that's why I put a 3-day limit on it, but I guess we can't do that.
I think that let the now that I've heard the whole story on it, I think maybe we need to let the DRB, because if he's trying to run it as a business, he actually has to have some sort of licensing from the state to run a business. And insurance, things like that.
Sales tax.
So,
Yep. Yep. And if
Can
you
I
let the-
interject something?
Yeah, sure.
go ahead, Brian.
I've mentioned this before,
Mhm.
but we have to be very careful. You can't keep calling somebody out individually
That's
because
right,
now you're targeting them.
yes.
And any ordinance you pass, they can take us to court and they have a really good case that you're targeting specifically them.
Okay, so
Okay.
And
let's,
they can get it thrown out and then we have to cover the legal expenses.
right.
So I
Okay.
just want to remind people of that.
We haven't mentioned his name yet.
Well, you
Right.
Come
beat
darn
around the
close.
Well, I'll just say anybody that's going to Bennington on a regular basis, and I've heard a zillion people say that's a disgusting thing, and I don't know how you allow it.
personal opinions aside, you can't discriminate against individuals and craft laws and ordinances targeted toward one specific
Okay,
individual.
so
We just denied his permit. That's all we did.
Okay, Brian, so I propose that we remove F. Okay, we just take that whole outdoor market thing, take that out.
Well, I'm not saying about outdoor markets. I'm saying that you've described the property, the location, you've
Mhm.
described the personality of the property owner.
Mhm.
I strongly advise you to stop.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Well, point well taken. I would say also that we probably, I think we reached unanimity that we don't want to include that outdoor market section in this. Am I correct? Should we vote on it?
Well, maybe it's okay. Flea markets, like large scale flea markets like Wilmington, we
Yeah.
need something like that under the DRB. And if somebody is just having a table at the end of their driveway trying to sell some stuff, do the 3-day or a week limit or
All
whatever.
right, okay.
And just, if anybody in town wants to open a large scale flea market, they're gonna have to go in front of the DRB, no matter
Okay.
who they are.
So we'll just say outdoor sales, yard sales and flea markets. Then we can leave in the 3-day thing. But we just add aside from permitted businesses or something like that. Exclusive of permitted businesses, right?
That's good.
I'm still not sure on the 3 days, only because I keep thinking about people that are out there trying to sell things. I know some people do set up on a weekend and then it might be
Yeah.
another weekend or two after before they can sit out there again for the weekend.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be leaving that stuff. That's what we're saying. I know people do it all over, like that guy on Route 22 on the way. Anyway,
Right, but
this
that's.
is New York. He's in New York.
Right, but
Guy
I
in New
think,
York who sells little yard gnomes.
well, I think what's happening though is that would be lumping in everybody who's trying to go out and do something and that's not what we're really after again. We're only trying to clean up
All right,
what
so,
is really trash, not people just out selling for the weekends.
all right, okay, I got
When
that.
if it turns into trash is something else, but I don't think that
Well,
way.
Okay, good. So
All right.
we will
Hold on.
remove that.
Hold on, Megan. Hold on, Brian. Go ahead.
So have we actually heard from the select board on their desire to push this?
Haven't heard much from the select board on that, other than Mike talked about it when we had him come to the meeting and said that, we thought we were in the right direction and trying to do something with it.
Well, it's not the
Questions
planning
with the
commission.
survey. And the
I don't
questionnaire.
think the planning commission should be trying to push this without at least some kind of board guidance, because we could go through all this, and if they don't have the stomach for it, it goes nowhere. So perhaps a representative of the commission should go before the board
I'm
and
happy
talk
to
to
do
them about
that.
it.
I'll do that, since I wrote it, most of it.
Mhm.
I cobbled it together. Michelle and I can do that, or I can do it.
Right. I think our feelings were to get something together on it and then take it to them to see if it's something that they would be willing to do and want to move forward on.
Okay, so were there, I think that what we would want to do then, we would.
Make a motion.
Wait a minute. Whoa, Jimmy.
Could you get?
We want to,
Mike,
I will clean this up a little, remove some repetition, and then I'll bring it, or do you want me to just run with it without section F, without the flea market business? And just say, this is.
Yeah, I think the flea market should be out.
Yeah.
We're not looking at that.
It's history.
Okay, gotcha. That's done. All right, it's all crossed off.
It's not a business.
Huh? What?
Yeah, non-business things.
Yeah. But I really don't think yard sales and they're not a big issue.
No.
So I think we're good. So Jimmy, you're wanting me to add abandoned properties?
No, I'm just tossing it out there. I
think that's going maybe a little too far. I'm not sure. I think this is just really based on trash and litter. And
I agree with you totally. No, I actually want to make a motion that you and Michelle go to the selectmen board.
Well, with this cleaned up a little,
What you got, yes. Because I think we're taking too big bite of the apple for this thing. I mean,
Right.
we're an abandoned property with this, with that. And what we really want to do is start kind of small.
Right, start-
Not find a lot of people, give them some time, but not a lot. And, if you come across abandoned property, then we'll deal with that another time.
okay, so when the select board writes the ordinance and they can decide all this stuff about.
Right,
enforcement
right.
And how much time and.
Right,
that's
right.
on us.
We're
Good.
just hearing it on garbage.
Right. We're just trying to bring something.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
suggest
so
better
you're-
definitions.
You guys, we need the definitions, yeah, probably.
Could you clean that one up and send it to everybody too?
Okay, you want me to send it to you first and then get on the agenda for the next
Yeah.
select board meeting?
Yep.
Yes. Jimmy, you want to make a motion on that and we'll
Yeah, more or less,
move that?
Michelle and you, Megan. I know, Megan, I know who you are. I'm an older guy. It doesn't come to my mouth sometimes, to my mind. Okay. Move on with what you got.
I'm the litter queen in this town.
I know that.
Proud.
I know that very well. I watch you a lot of times pick up Robert's Farm Road. Okay, I've seen you around town. Picking up.
So we have a motion
What do
to,
you move?
we have a motion to go forward with it. Do we have a second?
Wait, can we just say to present section 4 duty of owners and occupants to the select board.
It's
I
your
would
ball
say
game.
make it more vague, like present to the select board ideas for cleaning up. To start the conversation with them.
For town cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah, or property cleanups for town cleanup. And get them involved, because ultimately they're the legislative part of the town. So
Okay.
it'll be up to them. I mean, they can form a subcommittee and invite us to participate as the planning commission, manpower wise, but it's ultimately their responsibility to draft the legislation. We
You know,
can help
Brian-
point them in the right direction.
I don't know where that, I had understood that that's what they had asked us to do. was to
Okay,
write
well, that's what I
draft of an
want
ordinance.
to make sure is, what kind of buy-in have they already given us?
I think,
One board member speaking individually does not
Yeah.
the board make.
Yeah, and I think Fred and you, John, and Mike Gardner, we're trying to work on this together as I understood it. Is that correct?
Yes, this is what we're trying to work on, is get something together for it.
Okay.
That's what we were looking
All
at
right,
doing.
well, then I will send
been a while.
copy, a cleaned up copy with a little less repetition. I guess I guess when I go into the town, to the select board, I'm sorry, I can hand them the definitions and all that other stuff, which just really comes from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns template. So I can just hand it to them and say, here, you know, do what you
Yeah.
will with that. But just what the meat of it is this, the rights and the duties of owners and occupants.
Yeah, Megan, all you have to do is send it to Megan,
Yeah,
and she'll forward it to the select board anyway, so they'll have time to review
right.
it going into it.
so I'll send her a final draft of section 4 and, you know.
Yes.
Good. And then, do Michelle and I need to contact the select board ourselves, or will Megan do that for us?
Megan will set that all up because she's got to get it in a warrant and put it in minute or in their agendas.
Good. Great. So we didn't have to vote on it. Wait a minute, are we gonna vote on this?
Well, it's been a motion made.
I don't think there's anything we really need to vote on.
Okay.
I mean, we're just requesting to go before the select board to present ideas and information.
No,
Sounds
we're
good.
not. That's wrong, Brian. We're gonna present this. What I just read to you, that's what I'm presenting.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's
Right.
not
But
ideas, this is, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're
it's
not-
all
Okay.
very clearly written out. So, I mean, we're not gonna go in and chat. Okay, so if you guys agree that what Michelle and I put together is okay to present to them as a draft of the ordinance.
Okay.
Right. That's what we're saying. Yes.
I withdraw the motion.
We're gonna run with taking that or sending that into them.
Okay. So.
I don't think we need to vote on it either because it's not something we're trying to put in our thing.
Okay.
It's just a movement to send it to them.
All right, good. Yeah, it won't be part of our, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the thing about abandoned houses is just a step too far, sorry.
Hey,
Well, thank you, this was very productive, I thought.
You give them, we could probably put, let's wait on it. Let's just wait on that.
let's wait.
And we can come back to that after if we need to.
You reminded me of that.
We'll get the other stuff rolling. Hopefully.
Okay, great. All right, Michelle, did you,
Remind me again about the COVID money and how it can be used. Does anybody know?
Oh, it's kind of deep.
I'm not sure.
I can speak to you. I can speak about that, Michelle.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Rebecca.
This is Rebecca Dragon. I thought I would attend tonight.
thank you.
So the ARPA money has now been essentially deregulated enormously. And if you are a small town receiving under $10 million, which we definitely are that town, we can just transfer the money into our general fund and manage it on our own. It is no longer subject to federal requirements around the use of the money. It can be used through the general fund. I do know that the board is intending to use this first portion we've already received towards a new pump house, which is much needed. And then probably for some town hall. The second half portion, I just spoke about this last week. I don't know what the board's will isn't on it yet, but my suggestion to them was to use that second half, which is another 509,000 towards citizen suggested projects and have a hearing process around it. But it certainly could involve things such as incentives towards cleanup, larger projects like that. There's a lot of opportunity since we're the ones managing it and deciding, or the board is the one who's managing it and deciding how it can be used.
That's very interesting. So there would be some money for incentives.
There could be if you, so what you would have to do is, talk to the board about it, and you would create a plan, like a very specific plan. They're not going to just say, here's $10,000 for incentives. It's like, we would like to create a program. It's going to be stickers that people can purchase from the town hall, whatever it is, and you garner ideas about it, and then you present the plan, and then that's what my hope is that they will be doing with that second half of the ARPA money is projects like that, citizen suggested projects, unless something falls down into a sinkhole in the earth where they have to use that money for something else. But but so I would just keep communicating with the board that you'd like to see some, community suggested, planning commission suggested. Keep sending those suggestions into the board so they see it, because the money can be used very freely.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Um,
The problem, and the thing is that I see is that as long as we have this difference of opinion about whether or not people deserve to have incentives if they can't afford to buy a transfer station sticker. You know what I'm saying? As long as we get hung up on that, we're not gonna make a dent. I think you're right, Stacy, that just fining people isn't gonna really be effective.
well,
How do you even propose to go to somebody's house and, say we need to get this junk out of your yard?
Well, there's a health officer and there's a zoning administrator. So that's their job. And they both expressed a willingness to do it, so.
okay. Megan, are you gonna add something like that to that about, like what I had said about getting, doing it by somebody calling in or a complaint into it?
Oh,
Just so that we don't have somebody just running around town going, hey, I drove by this, you guys need to go clean it up.
yeah.
It's gotta be a.
Okay,
I-
again, I think that would go under enforcement. But I will suggest that. I'll make a suggestion for them to,
Why can't there be somebody driving by from one of the town boards
Well, our town
to identify?
officials aren't, that's not what their jobs are. They usually go by complaint. So we don't have them physically driving around.
We
To
don't
me,
have
that's-
full-time enforcement.
Right, we don't have that as full-time stuff here, but also I would see that more like, I would view that myself as being targeting. Cause if they
Yeah.
drive around, they didn't like somebody, they could drive by and start doing that. So
that's a very good
It's-
point.
But you are targeting. You see these houses that have garbage all over the place, and you are targeting that.
well, that's why I stated that
Somebody had to drive around to see this to begin with.
whoever's complaining, usually a neighbor is what this is what we've had in the past anyway. It's been neighbors.
I've
calling.
seen this, and I complain to my wife. Okay?
Right,
Does nothing,
right.
and she complains to me.
She didn't clean it up. She needs
But,
to point
but again, we
Pownal
don't
out.
have, our enforcement people don't drive around and just doing that kind of stuff. We don't have that set up that way. So it would have to go by
Volunteers.
I'm not sure that would be question could go to the select board.
Maybe we could pay them more and have them work longer hours. Like
You get-
Leo Haggerty did. He worked 40
Oh,
hours.
now you said a name. Be careful. We gotta fold it up here.
So let's say just make those corrections in it, send it up to Megan. She can get that forwarded out. And I will also, after the meeting here, I'll talk with Megan about seeing about if you can fit me in one of the meetings coming up here too. To go there and ask them about that money and see if we can put aside a small account to help with cleanups around town.
Great, that would be great, John. That would be awesome.
So if you wanted to get that sent in, I think as far as the rest of us, we're all in approval to get it moving.
Can I say something, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the reason I'd asked about the
Give me some good
money
ones.
was
Yeah.
I brought this up before about having, if we designated a few dumpster type days where we could get dumpsters set up in, say, the more problem areas, that it's easier for people to get to the dumpster to dump their things. And I know I want everybody from Massachusetts and New York's going to dump. No, it'll be for a certain amount of hours. We have, people's IDs checked so that we know that they're residents. And, it's like a 10 to 6. And people, say over on 346, people can get stuff into their cars and, get it to the dumpster and
Make a
dump
couple
them.
of trips.
Yes.
Make a couple trips because I can afford a transfer station sticker. I don't have the time to do it. I give my stuff to the kid that mows my lawn, and he said he takes it to a dumpster. So a lot of it's like people can't get to transfer station. They're working, but if it's on a weekend and the dumpster's right there, and we do some social media marketing thing to let people know that there's gonna be this day. Because people could be sitting there looking out the window going, God, I have so much trash. I just wish I had an easier way to get rid of it. Because God, I do that myself.
Yep. Yeah, I think we can do, we're going to wind up mentioning these ideas is basically all we're going to be doing to the select board. The select board is going to have to determine whether or not that's something that we're going to be able to do. If they want to do that, or again, like Brian said, or if they're just going to say, we don't really want to get into it right now. That's going to be ultimately up to them. But all of these ideas that we have, like you're saying too, that's all definitely can be brought up to them.
Okay, thanks.
I would think that's a great, I love Tom Shuey, but I have to disagree on that point about insulting his dump permit holders by having a free day when they paid $40 for their free day. I just think it makes everybody's quality of life better if this town looks a little better.
Yes.
And I think everybody will be happier. And there may be a few grumps who are, grousing about it, and they'll probably grouse to Tom because everybody does, because it's what people do. They go to the transfer station and grouse. But, I think overall, I think it'd be an improvement. All right, so
Okay.
I think that we're done, right? We adjourned?
Yeah, I think that's what we are going to lead to, getting that finished up, send it over. We'll set up some stuff to go and do, so I could try to get in up there too, just to talk with them about that. Then we'll have a better idea as to what that'll be.
Does everybody get in on their town email? Does Stacy have town email?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys look at it? So
Yeah,
because I think that Megan will put this on your town email, and I'll get it out in the next few days. So
Yes, just send that right out to her, and we'll make sure everybody gets it.
Okay, excellent.
Public comment.
Perfect. Then we're going to move on to public comment. Is there anybody in there, Megan?
Oh, yeah.
I don't see anything on the screen, but
Mindy Jeff? Hi, this is Mindy Joe down here in Burdick's Park. How are y'all tonight?
How you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, actually, I'm doing pretty good. I actually, my brain, just work with me here. I'm trying to figure out how to complete this task at hand. Burdick's Park has been a dump for a long time. Okay. I started complaining about this place and the different things going on down here as far as trash and garbage and hordes back probably 2015. Now I'm the fiduciary of the estate. I've only not even been 7 months yet. I'm being held accountable for 30 days of cleanup after 30 years of garbage buildup. All right. I got a letter sitting at the mailbox now because they're sending it out right to the fiduciary instead of me personally. However, is there anything within the town that could get me any kind of help? Because I'm here to tell you, I've been doing this on my own by myself. I even learned how to run an excavator to
Oh,
get this job done. All right. I have a cousin that's able to be here a couple times when he's got time. And actually, Mr. Don Burdick's helping me when he's got some spare time, but it's not enough. 30 days is not enough for nothing, period. I've tried every other avenue. I still can't even get the zoning dude to walk through with me to tell me what I got to do to get up to code. He was supposed to come down, and then there was a matter with his job. And then he was supposed to contact me on Saturday. I understand we had a storm, but a quick phone call of I can't make it because of the storm would have been awesome. So I've come to a dead end with the select board. So I decided to come to you guys and see if you guys got any suggestions or if you're just going to shove me along the way.
well, this is really not our job we'd love to help. But this is what we were talking about, that people need a little, I think we ought to
Well,
have.
I have an answer,
town truck.
Megan.
Yes,
Okay, I have an answer for that. Part of that. Years ago in Bennington, there used to be this thing called Green Up Day.
yeah, they still have that.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen it in years because my mother was great at one man's junk is another man's treasure. All right. And we used to go around. She made us pick other people's garbage and she would collect things, fix them up, and resell them. Okay. And her tag sales ran longer than 3 days. However, everything would be packed onto our porch. And then the following weekend, we would unpack it back into the yard.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right.
Well, I'm just saying, I think we've been talking about incentives, Mindy, and I think that we should have one of the highway department's trucks available to us.
I don't think that's going to work because your definition of junk, Megan, and my definition of junk is going to be two different things.
Yeah, no.
Two different things.
Truckload, huh?
More than a truck.
Well,
I think everybody should stay on the garbage, not junk, but garbage. Green,
okay,
garbage bags everywhere, and the trash.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
With water leaks on them.
John, what do you want to say? I see you getting ready to say something.
I thank you, Minnie Joe, for calling in on that. Basically, I think we just have to try to move it along to see if we're going to get any support from the select board and this whole thing happens or not. I think that's where we're at.
Okay, but in the meantime, just so you know, Burdick's Park, I suggest, I haven't even touched the house yet, and everything I found in the yard is probably 10 ton of stuff.
That's a lot of money for the dump.
That's a lot of stuff. I didn't even realize Harvey had a hoard going on down there, to be honest, but he did. I've uncovered it. I haven't touched the sheds or the house.
Right. I understand it's a lot to do. And if anything, the town's not gonna be like, oh, you have to clean this up in 30 days or you're.
Really?
it's
Because
gonna
I got
hit
a
you.
letter stating so.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the town will be willing to work with everybody. If it takes longer, it's gonna take longer. It's just what it is. But I think what we're talking about here is just more, can we move people along to start doing something? This is what we've had for a problem right along is it's just nothing's being cleaned up or very little. So we're just trying to move people along and see if we can anyway. And, just to start getting it done and making things look better.
Well, I do know I've complained to the old select board about the stuff that was going on down here with a certain family, and nothing was ever done about it, ever. You know what I mean? And it just got bigger and more. I got pictures that would probably make you puke. Not even kidding. It was that bad without no names. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm just
Well,
telling you, I'm in a hole down here, running out of time. And I was just looking for maybe insight on something else from like you, John, or Jim, or the other gentleman. You know what I'm saying? It's a big job. I've never done anything on this scale. I never set out to be a landlord. I'm a security specialist by trade. And I don't know why anybody would want to be a landlord intentionally, because I'm here to tell you, it's a pain right in the backside.
It's definitely a tough situation, and you got your hands into a big situation.
Yes, sir, I sure do.
But I just say keep plugging away at it a little at a time, and if we're able to do more here, I'm sure we'll help out if we can do more.
Okay, I do appreciate you guys at least listening, because that helps me more than you even know.
You're welcome. Thank you
I
for calling
appreciate
in.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for all you're doing, Mindy Jo.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anybody else, Megan?
Donna?
Hi, Donna Lozon, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Donna.
Okay. First, I just wanted to say thank you guys for addressing these issues. And, I just really basically have a comment that to keep in mind, we do have a vulnerable population here. Sometimes their circumstances get in the way, whether it's illness or disability or lack of transportation, economic hardships, which can contribute to blight, trash, or junk, whatever you want to call it, which are terms defined by different people in different ways. And some of these are poverty issues. And if it comes to pass that you create a system where you have someone going and meeting with these folks, it might be beneficial to try to figure out what that root cause is. Is it because someone doesn't have a car to get things to the dump? Is someone disabled and they can't physically, move to get things moved? What supports they need to make cleanup not just successful one time, but ongoing. And I'm sure that, you guys will do the right thing there, but I just thought it was something important to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you.
That was really good. Good points, Donna. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. That's along the lines of what I was thinking, was trying to do these things with the dumpsters, talking to people. I know there's multiple issues why people get loss of control of trash. It happens, and then they get inundated, and then they don't know what to do. So I think if we have some community outreach, we can work with people, maybe, I don't know what, because I don't have kids, so I don't know what kind of youth groups are around, but I know like 4-H, maybe it's something, a 4-H project can help. I think if we just all kind of work together, we can come up with some good solutions.
Yes. And one of the things I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago too, is that Tom, I'm going to add to it with what Tom Shuey said. One of the things is there is some items that could be already given to the dumps without a cost. There's already programs, I guess, that are taking care of some of that through the state. You don't need a permit to dump, and I think it's electronics and stuff like that. We can get a list from Chewy on that.
Recycling is free.
Well, yes, and some recycling stuff, but also metals that people have at want to get that stuff out of their yard, there's lots of people around that do that for business now, picking up metals. So that's, I think making people aware. Fred's mentioned it a couple of times too, and you just did again there, Michelle. But making that aware of what's going on and what they can take away, I think will help clean up a lot of that stuff. Which we don't have that going on right now. There's nothing out there telling people to.
So maybe that would
Do
be
this.
another good way to spend money, is more of a community awareness, kind of a community education,
Mhm.
where we have posters that say what's free, and we have, list of the guys who come and collect metal and so forth, and, just have a real strong community awareness effort.
Does somebody need a permit if they're just gonna go there to bring metal to the dump?
Most metals don't go to the dump. I don't believe that most people are just picking that up.
They take it,
Scrap metal.
Yeah, I
Bring it to
think.
the
I don't-
transfer station.
Well, you can, but I think there's about a dozen, I know a dozen guys in town that take stuff either to Albany.
Right.
Or to North Adams. And
They'll
I
come
don't
in.
want to name their names, but
Right. But they'll come in and clean up. They'll come and clean up any metals.
yeah, they'll
people
come in
have.
and take it. All your little
Anything.
machines or anything.
Yeah, we should probably put a resource list together then. And I'd like to know what the dump takes, because I don't even know what the dump takes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What you can recycle, and,
Yeah, recycling stuff.
Megan, did we have anybody else in that?
Hi guys, Jim Cosas, Mason Hill Road. First of all, I've got to just congratulate you guys on just an excellent discussion you had today, tonight. Megan and Michelle, hands up to you to be able to present something like this. As for Donna, I agree with everything you said, that yes, we need to work with the people in this town. In that regard, Mindy Jo is doing whatever she can to clean up down at Burdick Park. I give her 200% because she is stepping forward and asking for help. There are lots of people out there that are not asking for help and have no consideration at all. Those are the ones that I think we really need to just somehow get out there and talk to them. Yes, if someone can get out there and talk to them, that's great. But with Mindy, if she's got a 30-day limitation there, I think the town needs to work a little bit more with her. Similar to at the racetrack, I'm not sure how many days they've been given to clean up that situation down there of not fencing it in. I hear that there is a fence that might be going up. So I think we can all work together for those people that are coming forward to say they need help. As for those that are not coming forward, I think we need to come up with this ordinance. I've talked to Jimmy many times and said, if it takes 4 months to come up with a nice ordinance that we can all follow, let's come with the ordinance, but then give everyone 66 months during the summertime to do what they can, with the idea that they're going to know in 6 months, fines will start happening. I'm all for allowing anything to happen for 6 months, but it can't go on forever. I mean, so at that point, after 6 months, we have an ordinance, we have fines, we've worked with everyone, we've got them to a certain point. If they're not going to do what they're going to do, then yes, they have to be fined. They have to have an attachment or something on their properties, because they're not dealing with the public solution of making our town back the way it used to be many, many years ago. So I appreciate you guys. Let's mark this on the calendar, February 1st, 2022, and we'll see how long we can keep on this same railroad track going forward. Thank you and have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
I was wondering if maybe, John, Mike Gardner and Fred Miller pretty well. Maybe you could tell them what Mindy Jo said, and maybe we can get down there.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to hear it.
They'll hear it. Trust me.
I'm sure they're going to hear that pretty quick here.
in a nice way. I mean, I think Fred would just sweet talk her and she'd feel, she'd feel better after she talked to him, even if nothing happened.
We'll see.
Okay, Megan, is there anybody else in there?
I have no problem with reaching out to Mike and Fred. I've emailed them myself before I even said anything. That way it was already to them before it come out of my mouth because I have respect.
Yeah,
All right. So
we respect what you're doing and we appreciate it.
you guys, I had to send pictures out because the UPS dude showed up today and he said, I cannot believe the phenomenal job that you're actually doing, and actually made my day. The UPS guy. So,
Great.
you know, I just
That UPS guy gets around.
needed to vent. And this is like my first planning board meeting, so I wasn't sure what it was even about. And I just needed to jump in and get feedback, and I got it, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. You have
Y'all
a
have a
good
good
night.
night and God bless.
You too.
We make a motion to end it.
Yeah, that's it, Megan?
Yep.
Okay. So that's it for that. Look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion. to adjourn. Yep. Good. Second, whatever.
Michelle motion, Jimmy second, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Night, guys. Good work.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night, Michelle.